Hello everyone, just making another video to provide an update on the whole desync situation or the issues I've had with Rocket League. If you don't know what I'm on about, then you can check my Rocket League improvements and fixes video that is on the channel. And just to give you a summary, I've had a desync issue with the game for years. It causes all sorts of problems like the game stuttering, inconsistent input, client-side desync, lag, all sorts of strange interactions. The game can feel just different every day playing the game, etc. It's really hard to play with at a high level. I would say it kind of forces you to hit a wall, or did for me at least. And it's very frustrating, and I've spent a long time trying to fix it. And I'm always looking for new things that make a significant difference, and I made mention of that in my old video. But I've found something that makes a far more significant difference, and at least in my case, and I'm going to talk about that just a tiny bit and show you what to do. Of course, it should go without saying, don't do this if you don't experience any issues with the game. Whatever. Just be sensible about it. First of all, you can see that I am on my, not my alt, but this is my main account. This is my Epic account. So my main account is Ravena, and this is my Epic account of that version. The issue for me seems to be related to networking, and it's not my internet that's the problem, seemingly. As in, my internet itself is not bad. It could be to do with bad routing. I've been doing some investigating into this. But in particular, it seems to be something to do with the Epic online services, at least potentially. It's worth keeping in mind this is a very old game. It's a very old engine. Unreal Engine 3 is like, I don't know, it came out in like 2004 or something. It's really old, and it's full of all sorts of issues, so who knows what the issue is. But for me, there seems to be an issue with the amount of networking happening on the client and how desynced my game is. Remember, the desync causes all sorts of problems. It causes perceived input response problems. It causes wobble, weird lag, you know, everything. It's terrible. And another thing with it is it varies like over a day. It gets, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Sometimes you can play the game and it feels great, and then sometimes you play the game and it just feels terrible. Well, my game has been performing very consistently for a while now since performing these fixes, and going to show you what they are. So, back to what I said, you might recognize I'm on my Epic account. And that's for good reason. I don't think to do this you have to be on Epic, but one thing I have done, which has made a significant difference, is deleted all my friends. Every single friend I've deleted. I don't know if anybody remembers, or if you remember who's watching, back in Epic Season 1, when the game was stuttering and performing really badly for a lot of people, and that turned out, I think, to be an Epic Games Services problem. And it was kind of related to the friends list a lot. Some people just didn't really have it very much. Some people were really badly affected. A lot of people said that removing friends helped with that. And this seems to be the case with me. It seems like having many friends on there at all makes it a lot worse. And in particular, when a lot of people are playing Rocket League, it seems that that's when it performs worse. So when I have a lot of friends online, that could be at like peak times, it gets worse. So the reason I'm on my Epic is because I obviously don't want to delete all my Steam friends, but I've deleted every Epic friend. And then I've gone into the Epic client, or the Epic Games Launcher, and I've disabled the ability to send my account friend requests, and I've also disabled all notifications, just because I don't want any kind of communication coming through the game. And then the second thing is, in the settings, the gameplay settings, I've set the bandwidth limit to medium. You can set it to medium or low. I recommend trying both. For me, this makes a significant difference. My desync is reduced a lot. There's much better perceived input response. It's quite weird. If I swap to low, here, my input feels different. It feels slower, but maybe a little bit more consistent. I've had issues with medium sometimes causing desync a little bit, and so I don't really know what the correct solution is, but certainly being on high seems to make everything a lot worse. There's some interesting kind of discussion to be had about what that setting actually does. I'm not going to get into that right now. The same amount of data is still kind of sent to the game servers, as in when you're playing, but the way it is, I think, fragmented is different. Not fragmented, but the way it's sent is different. You can try this for yourself. It's worth noting that even with this fix, there is still some desync, like a very small amount of desync that occurs, for me at least, at peak times. So during peak NA times and peak EU times, it does get a bit laggy. I can come on in the night and it's just laggy. And I've looked at other streamers who played the games that time and it's just laggier. Everything seems laggier. And I don't think it's the game service itself. I think it's something to do with the client performing worse. But again, there's not really any evidence for that, so I'm not going to make some crazy claims. But yeah, I think for some people, it might be the hardware, it might be the network, whatever. But for some people, it seems the networking on the client causes problems. So try that. And finally, the last thing I'd say is, in my case, avoid backers mod. Backers mod seems to cause a lot more desync for me. It always has over the years, and I've not used it for that reason. It's going to sound crazy as well, but backers mod makes my game feel different as well, and that could be due to the networking element. You know, I'm not an expert in this regard, but potentially backers mod causes more networking to come through the client because backers mod is making calls to the API or something like that. I don't know. Backers mod definitely has network access and definitely does things on the network, but I'm not entirely sure. But one thing I'm certain of is it makes the issue worse for me. I'm trying to investigate why this might be. I'm trying to talk to some people who might know some things about this. And I'm also looking at my routing to the Epic Games services, the online services, to see if there's anything significant there. I've done some tests, and it seems like my routing to the Epic Games services is quite bad, and that could be related to it, but I don't know. But I'm happy to report, though, that for the past week or so, the game has been performing great. It's been performing very well. I still don't think it's performing to the best of its, I guess, the best visibility, or like the best it can, because again, the bandwidth limit on medium seems to have improved input response, but it does cause some desync, and I'd imagine the optimal way of playing the game is to have, you know, proper input response without any desync, so I don't know. I'm also on a fresh Windows install. It's the same on my other Windows install. I'm dual booting Windows at the moment. It's the same behavior. Yeah, I've been doing very, very well in ranked. I've just been performing so much better in game now. and I'm very, very glad for it. And it's made playing the game enjoyable again. I'm not going to go into the whole thing of it, but it seems like a very strange issue, and I hope it can be looked into. It's the same for multiple people as well. I've asked multiple people about the same issue, and it seems to improve their experience. Another thing as well is another kind of element of the desync, I guess, is the game stutters. It doesn't look like it's running at a high frame rate when it stutters. And that's fixed as well now. The game just runs buttery smooth. It doesn't seem to appear in the frame graphs or anything like that. But yeah, if you're having issues with Rocket League being inconsistent and whatever, I've had this issue for years now, and this is huge for me. This has made a massive improvement. I know some people are going to moan that there's not, empirical evidence or something like that. They're going to think I'm just SIBO'd or something like that. There's a lot of discussion about that, but it's visible on my stream. You can see how much less laggy my game is. I'll be in servers that have, 10 ping. I've got like 10 to 20 ping to these servers, and previously I was lagging a lot. And the fixes that I applied in my first improvements video did help with that to some extent, but it never got rid of it fully, but it made it far more bearable. But it's still laggy, and at some particular times, like NA peak times, it was really laggy, and it's very obviously laggy, and you can see the desync, but now it's so much better. Like, it's massively better, and it's very visible. And I'm finding rank just so much easier. I just play so much better now, and I'm really happy for it. And every day I log onto the game, it's just consistent again. It's not different. Just a side note, as for the first video, the improvements and fixes, with the driver priority, I'm currently using everything on undefined for the sake of troubleshooting, and that is working quite well for me. Everything on undefined sort of operates drivers on a first come, first served basis. And yeah, so I'm not using the ones I say in there in that video, just for clarification in case people are interested in that. And this is a fresh Windows install, so nothing has been changed. There's nothing about this Windows that should be different to anyone else's, unless they've unless you've edited your Windows install somehow. But yeah, I'm really happy and really chuffed, and I'm looking forward to getting back to enjoying this game. And I'm also going to take the time to investigate why this is and see if I can get any answers, because it's very, very, very strange. If this solution did help you, please let me know. It does honestly make me feel better when I know that these things have helped some people. It might not help everyone, but if it has helped you, then please let me know. And one more thing as well, just to go through my settings here. I found the input buffer on default just seems to work fine now. I don't need to use STS and CSTS and I'll have like an extremely laggy experience or desynced experience. And there's not really an input difference between STS and CSTS, whereas there used to be a pretty noticeable input difference. I'm running the game at 360 FPS. So you got high, medium, and you can try low as well. Low has different input response. I don't think it's the correct input response, but low usually provides the least amount of desync. It's quite weird. So please test these and see what works best for you. And be aware that your game might be more laggy or less laggy depending on different times. I'm not really sure why. That is completely. But yeah, I'm not going to keep you very much longer. So thank you so much, everybody, and take care. Bye-bye.